back to Cosmic Life Astrology. Today we are going to talk about Saturn entering Aries on May 25th. We're going to just go over some brief telltale expectations of what Saturn and Aries will be showing us. Saturn is going to be in Aries until July 14th. And then it's going to retrograde back into Pisces, all the way back to 25 degrees of Pisces. And that retrograde is going to end on February 17th, 2026. And from that point on, when Saturn goes back into Aries, we'll see Saturn in Aries until mid-April of 2028. So what can we expect from Saturn and Aries? Well, for one, Saturn is in detriment in Aries, so it doesn't function at its highest potential. But there's a lot of contradictory energy between Saturn and Aries energy. Saturn is a more grounded energy, and Aries is a fire sign. So, it's very quick and fast moving, action oriented, aggressive, it's Mars ruled. And so this can portray the possibility of some challenges while Saturn is in Aries. However, I do feel that this is going to be a time where Saturn's going to have us put in the work on ourselves, on our identity, on taking authority, taking leadership, having autonomy. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so I do think there's also going to be a potential for Saturn requiring hard work in new beginnings, right? And Saturn is all about hard work and discipline. So this is going to require some self-control, some restraint, not looking for the instant gratification and focusing on the long game. There could be a strong focus on fathers and authority figures when Saturn is in Aries. So, keep that in mind, because we do have the potential for success and achievement with Saturn and Aries, but it's going to require a focus on being true to yourself and doing the work. I also want to say that with Saturn and Aries, because Saturn can be restrictive, there can be some people who experience this as feeling like a lone wolf or feeling lonely. And for those that feel that, hopefully it is a short-lived experience, because those are obviously not pleasant feelings. But it is something that will require effort and work, because with Saturn and Aries, a lot of what Saturn wants you to do in Aries is to overcome your self-conscious habits, come out of hiding, and put your best foot forward and have the discipline and the leadership within yourself or with others, because with those leadership, and self-control and discipline, you can make things happen. I want to note, just so you guys can get a feel for the kind of, examples of Saturn and Aries, is that there's a lot of celebrities that are well respected that have Saturn and Aries. So I'll name a couple, about 10 of them or so. Just so you can, think about these people and their character, their personality, their persona, and their overall career, because this can act as somewhat of a reminder or an inspiration of how to contain yourself during this time. So some of these celebrities are Joe Rogan, Paul Rudd, Jennifer Aniston, Morgan Freeman, Lucy Liu, Owen Wilson, Terrence Howard, Dustin Hoffman, Jimmy Kimmel, and George Carlin. And what all these celebrities have in common is they all are pretty humble and private about their life. You don't see them in gossip columns. You don't see them, flaunting what they have or what they've achieved, they all symbolize humility, right? And they all had to really focus on their career to get the success that they obtained. You know, we can look at all of them and say that they all exude self-restraint as well. We don't see any of them in the headlines causing trouble, getting arrested, you know, having scandalous behavior. So think about that, because that's the kind of things that you need to have during the next 3 years. And one thing I want to point out about one of these celebrities, Terrence Howard. He was recently on a podcast where he talked about giving up your man card, right? I'm not going to divulge into it, but the overall message of what he said is to not compromise yourself for the sake of obtaining success and fame. And I think that's really important. That's a perfect Saturn and Aries example. There is not going to be an easy way to obtain success. It's not going to be instant gratification. You can't take any shortcuts. You have to do the work. You have to have discipline and self-control. And if you do, you can achieve what it is that you're trying to pursue, but you have to put yourself out there. You can't, you can't hide away and expect things to come to you. So I wanted to give this as a preview of Saturn and Aries, because we do have about a little less than 2 months of this energy once it dips its toes into Aries. Saturn's only going to get to 1 degree Aries. So this is definitely going to be a time where a lot of us will see new beginnings start to happen and develop. And when it goes into Pisces during the retrograde, we're going to have to finish some things up. We're going to have to tie up some loose ends. And that's how I feel this energy. And then essentially we're going to have this for 3 years. So we're going to continue talking about this. Obviously, we'll talk about the retrograde when we get to that point. And then when the retrograde is over, we'll talk about more things to expect, because by that point, we're going to have some other developments in the sky that is going to affect Saturn and Aries. It's also good to note, Saturn is going to be making a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius as it enters Aries, and it's going to be greeted by Neptune. So this is another, Saturn meeting Neptune in the sky is another opportunity to tap into creating something new, because Neptune is only at, I believe, 1 or 2 degrees of Aries right now. So they are going to be facing each other until mid-July when Saturn starts going retrograde. So there's a lot of creative potential. There's a very much strong energy of creating something new in your life, a potential to, tap into your own inner wisdom, your inner authority during this time. Use your intuition as well, but do so responsibly. Saturn wants you to be responsible. So, and with that sextile to Pluto, Pluto is helping make changes happen. That's a favorable connection between the two of them. And Pluto is also in the beginning degrees of Aquarius, trying to get his, feet on the ground in Aquarius. But it's an overall energy of death and rebirth, as we all know. And so I do think this is an opportune time to really start something new, whether it be regarding your health, your career, your friendships, routines that you have, whatever it is for you. We have about a 2-month period to start something new in that Aries part of your chart. So take a look at your chart and see where Aries is, because that's where you're going to be focusing for the next 3 years, with Saturn transiting Aries, as well as Neptune being in Aries, but Neptune will be there for more time. So stay tuned for more information about the upcoming transits. The next video I'll be making is on the new moon in Gemini, which is coming up 2 days after Saturn enters Aries. Another, strong influence of new beginnings. So I will be back with more videos. I hope you all have a great week. Take care, everyone.